Thank you. My name is Oyebanji Akins, and you can call me DJ Fresh, and we're live on CTD Among Blacks podcast channel. And today I have my lovely brother with me, all the way from Miami Beach. And without not wasting too much of his time, because he's a very, very busy man, and I don't want to waste too much of his time today. And for that saying, I'll be introducing Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, a financial professional that is based in Miami Beach. So, Mr. Ahmed, would you try to introduce yourself and everything you have? I know it's a lot, and I don't want to mess everything up. So, kindly introduce yourself to our audience, please, sir.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm very excited to be here, and I really appreciate the little time we're going to spend together. My name is Ahmed Ibrahim. I'm based in Miami Beach, Florida. I'm a licensed financial professional. Before I became a licensed financial professional, I was a vice president in JP Morgan Chase. I was into cybersecurity and technology controls. I spent about 15 years of my time in the U.S. In corporate America with different 500 Fortune companies. Wow. And I've done a lot of coaching and educating people in financial services, and I took it upon myself that our community needs someone that is savvy about financial to be able to help us to get to a good understanding of how we can be able to build wealth. So I'm really happy to be here today to discuss a little bit about it.
Thank you very much for that. I didn't even know you have more knowledge in cybersecurity, because I have a master's in cybersecurity. So it's a privilege I'm having someone that has been in that industry for 15 years and having to decided to do what you're doing right now. So for you listening or for you watching us right now, you can check us on Instagram or CTD Among Blacks, and the same thing on YouTube. And every episode we've been having for the past time, you could go to www.ctdamongbblacks.com. And for you that would like to be on this particular podium, on this particular podcast, you can always reach us on CTD Among Blacks. Our topic for today that I'll be going with Mr. Ahmed is cultural shock, but we'll be talking based on wealth. And what I mean by saying wealth, a lot of Africans, or should I say a lot of black people, don't understand the meaning of wealth. We always think it's about having, luxurious things that we have. But to me, having the opportunity of knowing you before we come on live right now, you've been able to expatiate some things. And that's one of the reasons why you're here. So without not wasting too much of our time, would you try to explain? I would like, the first question is, being a Nigerian, cultural shock we go through a lot. And having the opportunity of you being in a corporate world for 15 years and decided to go on this journey of wealth building strategy, can you explain to us how Nigerians and African or black people can benefit from that?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really very grateful to be able to speak about this topic. This is something that is very important to our community. I decided to start on this journey after realizing how behind we are as African in this environment. Because I came from Africa about 20 years ago. I came to America, and I've been in America for about 16, 17 years, and I didn't understand how the wealthy does things, right? I always think you have to work 9 to 5 and make money and save and work for the next 30 years and then retire, right? That was the way I think it's used to. I mean, everyone normally does things, and that's what we've been taught growing up, right?
Yes.
We were taught to go to school. We were taught to do the bachelor. When it's not enough, we go to masters, and we go do PhD. However, how many of the PhD holders do you see out there that are multi-millionaires, right? A lot of us were being given this as the status quo, right? But we didn't realize that the wealthy people, they understand how to build wealth. So in terms of cultural shock, I realized very late, not at the beginning, that what we as African believe is wealth is not actually what it is. It's just part of it, right? We all believe that when you have real estate, you have cash, and some other thing, you have nice cars, that is wealth, right? There is some asset that are not actually those kind of assets like real estate, your cars. They're all liabilities. There are assets that you can even own that are actually better than that and even cheaper, right? And these are ways we can be able to really build huge wealth, which the multimillionaire, the wealthy family in America has been able to keep their wealth for years and years, and a century before now. However, because of our background, I was raised in Nigeria, right? I'm a Yoruba boy, right?
I'm sorry to stop you from that. Which part of Yoruba are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Ekiti, right?
For everybody watching us from Ekiti, we have Mr. Ahmed right here that's representing Ekiti people in the house.
Right.
Thank you very much for that. I'm listening to you.
So from Ekiti, we were being taught that when you want to become, when you've made it, you have to have big house, right? You have to have big cars, right? And those are the things that I thought is wealth, right? But those are not really net worth. Those are just the things in our society here in America. They're all liability. You can never own a house completely. You will still be indebted to tax and all the things, definitely. Right? You will be running it forever. Mm-hmm. Even if you pay off your house, if you're still owing tax, you can lose that house. I go to auction all the time and buy tax deeds on houses that didn't pay even
really?
$200, $500 on taxes. They lose their houses on that.
Wow.
Yes. Many people don't know that. However, there are ways you can be able to actually build wealth. That is what we're actually educating our people. There are products that when you have it, it's like overnight you've been able to build that wealth. You're just maintaining it because you can compare it to a real estate. You can compare it to other assets, but these are actually very liquid. It's considered tier 1 capital by the FDIC and other stuff. We're going to talk more about it, but we usually like to be able to get us to be educated on those, though it's still cultural shock among us Nigerians, because it's not what we were taught, right? So these are the things that we are providing to our people to let them understand how they can be able to build that.
Thank you very much for that. I would like to ask you this question before we move forward. How do you manage to switch to this from being somebody that, like you said, having a first degree, second, the third one, and being in a corporate job? Because I think right now in 2023, a lot of Africans, or let me say Nigerians that I'm so sure of, are moving into IT world.
Right.
And you've been there for a while and you decided to move. For somebody that just coming to America, I want you to say it in a short way, like how can we make them to understand that don't just waste your time. I'm not going to say they're wasting your time anyway, but don't just stick to IT alone. There's something you could do that will make you to live your life. I know it's very expensive to live in Miami Beach. So for you to come all the way from Miami Beach to Houston, and we have it our podcast, I want everybody to enjoy, like, can you give us in a layman form so that people can understand, like, not just the only IT that you could do. There are many ways we can make money and live in wealth.
I appreciate that. So, I've spent all my time in the US about before I even started this, I've been here for over 16 years and I've always been in corporate America, right? And I always thought I was making a whole lot of money, making, almost $250,000, quarter of a million.
Wow.
As a vice president, you feel you've arrived, right? But guess what? It cannot provide me the kind of lifestyle I live now as a licensed financial professional.
Wow.
That money I can barely survive.
Wow.
On a quarter of $1 million.
That's true.
Because when you factor in the taxes, the other stuff, you pay Social Security, you pay all, I used to live in New Jersey at that time. I couldn't even afford Miami Beach. I couldn't even afford that kind of luxurious lifestyle, right? But that is what everybody believed in. You want to reach the top at your career. I reached, a vice president level.
That's big.
I was doing well. I felt like I was doing well. I remember when this was introduced to me, I was like, what else is out there, right? However, my business, you can actually make 6 figures part-time.
Wow.
On a part-time basis.
On a
part-time basis. I actually tell people I don't work full-time anymore, right? I see a lot of people, spending 40, 60 hours on a job. And I see a lot of folks in IT now doing 2, 3, 4 jobs. I think it's killing, right?
Most definitely. Especially for Africans that move to America.
Yeah, we take that very seriously now. I see a lot of people going towards doing 2-3 jobs.
It's the
right?
biggest job in America.
However, if I tell you that you can actually leverage your time as a licensed financial professional, and if anyone wants to know more about this, I will be happy to share how this actually works. You can spend an hour, 2 hours in a month and make as much money as people who are spending 160 to 200 hours a month.
Wow.
You can spend an hour or 2 hours on a client, helping a client, and you're making as much as somebody that is spending 200 hours in a month. The same thing. Imagine you're making $10,000 from doing one deal that only took you about an hour.
Wow.
And the same thing is what somebody is doing there.
You have to put me on this particular thing you're saying about. But without, I would want you to put all the Jews out. Because, there's one thing that I learned from back home. They said, whatever you give to free, people don't appreciate it.
Correct.
But it's a privilege we're having you on our podcast and you're sharing all these things. My next question is, how has it been you've been able to convince Africans? Because I'm a Nigerian, actually. Yeah. Has it been an easy journey bringing Nigerians to do this? Or it's for now? Has it been something where a lot of us are still ignoring the fact of seeing how we can make money without not doing overtime or putting too much of time into it?
That's a very good question. I started with being able to bring a lot of Nigerian and African community into my organization. But there is one thing that I noticed: a lot of Nigerians, it's not something, if we're not used to something, we always like to follow crowd. When everybody is doing IT, we want to do IT.
Yes.
And when there is something that is new, we take it. It's very difficult for us to, get that acceptance from Nigerians. We are very slow in adopting something, but people are getting onto it. What I'm doing, when you go into the community among Africans, when you look at the Cameroonians, the reason I started this is because I was very, I look at the Nigerian community and I was thinking we're actually behind the Cameroonians. I have a lot of multimillionaires that are my mentors that are from Cameroon.
Really?
In our organization.
That's going to be something out of Nigeria.
They're making a huge millions of dollars doing this. And when I got there, I was like, how many Nigerians are here? Now I'll be like, oh my goodness, almost none.
Wow.
I was like, so there is something this good and we're left behind because we all thought that IT is the way. And that's what I was doing. And when I was doing it, I was making $250,000 doing just one job. Not 2, not 3 that people are doing right now, right? That was before COVID. It was after COVID people started to be able to do 2, 3, 4 jobs. I think
COVID made people to start doing a lot of IT.
Correct.
Jobs.
So now, when I saw that, I saw this is an opportunity for us. So I was able to invite people because, people said, Ahmed has, very solid credibility, his integrity is intact. When he says something, we know he believes in whatever he says.
That's true.
So I think that credibility makes everybody to be like, when he say it, we have to try. Right? But now we need the consistency of our community, because guess what? We have the most wealthy community in America.
Yes, that's true.
We have the smartest community in this country.
That's true.
We have the most intelligent community, the Nigerian community. Yeah, we have, talk about the most educated community.
And yet we're missing this.
But yet we lack behind in money. We believe in something that we have to work so hard
before we get it.
We didn't realize that it's not everything we need to work smart, not hard, So we believe in just working so many hours and all this stuff. But the real thing that brings money The richest people in this country is not their hours. Elon Musk, how many hours versus how much he makes, right? Bill Gates, how many hours is he putting versus how much he makes? You need to leverage others. You need to teach people how they can leverage. You need to understand leadership. You need to understand how to be able to educate people, sync with others to be able to build a community, and you can be able to actually educate others to become wealthy as well. So we have various ways we can be able to help each other in this journey of wealth building.
Thank you very much for that. I want you to explain something for a layman Nigerian person. Yeah. Nigerian, I must say I'm a victim of that too. A lot of Nigerians don't understand the difference between wealth and rich. I think it goes over our head when you say somebody is wealthy. We're more into like the physical thing we see. Yeah. So for a common Nigerian that's listening to this particular session, I want you to break it down, the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the thing is, they say cash is king.
Yes.
But net worth is kingdom.
Cash is king.
Cash is king.
But the net
worth is kingdom. Right?
I like
so
that.
People, the rich is when you have all this stuff, you are saying that people can be able to say you make it, However, when you are wealthy, you have that net worth. You can be able to say, this is what I'm worth. A lot of people are silent multi-millionaires when they know the strategy we teach, and you can never know how wealthy they are because they work with their net worth rather than working with what you can be able to actually see as rich out there, right? That's the difference. When you understand this,
I think what you said, because I was watching one episode somewhere, I can't remember, and I remember somebody saying, if everything you have is what people can see, then you don't have nothing. Like if everything you have is what I can see on you, you really don't have nothing. Like there's nothing. Thank you very much for that. My next question is, being a Nigerian in America, and with everything you've said, what do you think we Nigerians still lack being in America? I believe I've had a lot of friends that are here in America, and they struggle with the cultural shock.
Yeah.
They struggle with how they can understand the system. A lot of people have family back home.
Yeah.
A lot of people come with their family, and I've had a privilege where a guy was telling me, this is what I give my wife back home in Nigeria, and now that I'm here, the kind of job I'm doing doesn't even give me the chance to give my wife this.
Yeah.
And the wife doesn't understand. So I'm using you now to help family out there. Like, I want to hear your own view of how you can help. When somebody walk up to you and say, I'm stuck in this, I don't understand what to do, I don't understand how to move, I'm struggling. I just want to hear your own view, how you can help in Nigeria and in America that is struggling with cultural shock.
The thing that the advice I have for Nigerians in this country is not to be rigid with what we know, and to be very flexible, to be able to learn more, right? Reading, studying other things that is outside of what you've been taught or how you think things are is going to help you to move far in this country, right? When you think, that's what we've been talking about.
Yes.
That, when we want to determine how wealthy I am, it's about how many houses I have. You're still thinking like our forefathers.
I think that's what we know.
That is what we know.
Yeah.
However, we need to learn. There are other ways. There are some people in this country you can never see. And what we are doing is how you can actually protect all those things. We have a way you can protect your wealth. You can be worth 10, 20, 50 million dollars in this country, and people will not know you worth a dime because we protected it. And you don't have to worry about, the backside. Uncle Sam is gonna take this much. When you die, this is how much they're gonna take. We protect all those things. That is what is your net worth. That is what we're trying to teach people how to build. That if anything ever happens to you, you need money, you can be able to access it. It's liquid, right? And besides being liquid, if anything happens to you, it's protected.
With that part, can you tell me one of all this product that you have? Because for anybody that's listening right now, a lot of Nigerians, it goes over our head. We're like, you're just talking about this wealth of a thing. I don't even know what wealth is. Can you give us one of this product that you're into that can bring this asset, that can bring this wealth into the life of a Nigerian or African that's listening to this?
That's a very good question. One thing I usually talk about, there are several things that we usually educate people on how they can be able to build. But let me give you just one good example,
Okay.
which is something that is actually a cultural shock to us, right, as Nigerian. The term life insurance.
Life insurance.
Life insurance. Among Nigerians, we look at it with a derogatory way.
Yes. Like,
everybody looks at it as, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to die, right?
That's the number one thing.
That is the thing everybody think about. That is number one. And actually, many people didn't realize life insurance is a way to build wealth. Permanent life insurance is a way to be able to turn you to a very, very wealthy person.
Wow.
When you know how to be able to use it.
Just life insurance.
Life insurance
In America.
can make you extremely, extremely wealthy.
Can you, I know it is not right to give our audience a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more.
Just to be able to give you an end, right? There is a certain life insurance. There is a permanent life insurance that when you use it right, it has to be designed right for you. It gives you huge return on your investment. It serves as an investment strategy for you. It serves as a savings opportunity. It serves as a retirement opportunity. That whatever you are doing, you kind of build a huge wealth today. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. I look at every Nigerian in this country and I'm wondering, if you tell me you are in this country and you are not a millionaire, I don't know what's wrong with your head. Because it's quite easy to become a millionaire. That is your net worth.
In dollars.
In dollars.
All right.
If you are telling me you are in this country, you are not a millionaire. I want to ask you, what kind of books have you been reading?
That look like a slap on my face. My asset might not be close, but I have to be true to myself.
That is
I don't think I'm there too. I don't think I'm in this M's. I'm in thousands, but I'm not in M's.
Yes.
So I'm glad you said that, but I'm about to ask you a very tricky one. Before we went online, I know you're Muslim.
Correct.
And I know talking about life insurance for Muslim, because I have a lot of Muslim friends.
Right.
And I've been in a place where they talk to them and they said their faith doesn't allow them to. I don't know much about it because I'm not a Muslim.
Yeah.
So what would you tell a Muslim man or Muslim woman listening to this about life insurance?
Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm a good Muslim, right? And the good part is that I'm learned in Hadith and the Quran, right?
All right.
And there is some misunderstanding among the Muslim community. And as you know, it's based on the understanding of, there is one word that we kind of usually get wrong.
And this is fact.
This is the fact, right?
Right.
That the Muslim community, some part of the Muslim believe that when you say something is interest, it's haram.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The interest is haram. However, there is profit that is different from interest. When you invest in any organization and you get return based on the profit that the organization makes, that is halal, right? That is permitted. Haram means what is prohibited, right? And the interest that Islam is talking about is, like, for example, when you borrow me $10,000 and you mandate me that you have to give me $1,000, that is interest.
Oh.
That is interest. Islam doesn't permit that.
Oh.
Because there is a possibility I might lose
the money.
And if I lose that money, I'm being banded to pay that $1,000 extra from in addition to the $10,000.
Oh, so that's why they will never want to do something.
They will never want to do that is interest.
To save that particular angle.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes sense.
However, in this case, is about profit. However, in English word, the interest and profit are synonymous to each other. So when you now say interest in this regard, some Muslim scholars are like against it.
But to help our audience listening, we're talking about this particular product.
This product I'm talking about.
That doesn't mean all life insurance is going to be like that.
No. Okay, there are ones that that function as investment, that function as your savings, and that function as actually your retirement account as well.
All right, that makes sense.
So that one I'm talking about, the interest. There is a language that we use, the Arabic language that we use for the interest. It's called is it riba? There is a language that is an Arabic language that prohibited you from taking it, right? But in this case, that's not the case. It's just the English that this is profit sharing. You make based on the return in the market. It's just like you invest in stocks, right? It's just like you invest in. I mean, Islam doesn't prohibit.
I'm glad it's coming from you being a Muslim person and being able to break it down. And I think it's a privilege for us having you on our podcast and be able to tell our audience something like that, because I don't think it's something that's common. I've had a lot of friends that always complain that when it comes to life insurance, they don't do it. And for you still listening, we are live on CTD Among Blacks, and we have Mr. Ahmed in the house with us. He has been able to give us a lot of things. So please keep watching, and I hope we've been able to enlighten you more of things you don't know. And like we said, our main goal on this place is not to fix the problem. We are not the actual person that could fix it, but based on our own awareness and things we know, we want to share with our audience for you to know more and be able to live a better life. Moving to my next question: how has it been doing this and dealing with Americans? You know, I know your clients will never be only Africans. You've talked to white people, you've talked to Black Americans. How has that part of you been dealing with them? We would like to hear your experience on that part.
It has been pretty much so far so good, right? Because Americans understand this strategy. A lot of people don't really get it, right? But that is part of what we do to educate others. There is a lot of resources out there. And they said if you want to hide information from a black man,
put it in a book.
Put it in a book. So that is why we always advise our people read a lot of books, right? Read a lot of books on retirement, right? How can you be able to retire, protect your retirement, protect everything. If I start talking about different things that could happen, right, we cannot be able to, leave this podcast today.
Yeah. I'm glad, and I'm still honored to have you, because I know you have to catch your flight, and I don't want to take too much of your time. But I only have 2 questions left, and we're about to end it. And the number 1 question is, what would you like to tell people back home that doesn't understand what Nigerians face with the cultural shock in America? I would like to give your own view to people listening back in Africa, and I'm about to twist this question into like 2 questions to 1 answers. And the second question is, what would you like to tell Black Americans that are yet to understand Africans, that we struggle cultural shock in terms of embracing everything that happened in America? I believe that a lot of Africans that have married are Black Americans, and their expectations sometimes are different. That we struggle with how things have been done. So it's like a 2 question in 1 answer. Like, what would you like to tell people back home that need to understand that Nigerians that are still struggling with cultural shock, how you think this is not the same thing? And for Black people that are married Africans, that they need to understand, we struggle with cultural shock. That's the 1 question I want to ask, and I'll ask the last one.
Okay, so the people in Nigeria should understand that it's not just the way they view us living in the U.S. is the way it is. We don't pick dollars on the floor or pick it on the street, right? And it's different. People has to work very hard. We have to struggle. We struggle with a lot of stuff, accommodation. We struggle with how to be able to feed our family. A lot of us in the U.S., every single dime we're earning are even spent on our bills. We have bills. Some people, we may be thinking, he makes $1,000, $2,000 a month. However, do you know how much bill this guy has to pay, right?
Somebody like you living in Miami, it's damn expensive.
So when you see, like, Nigerian has to realize that almost 90% of what we're earning in United States actually goes towards our bills, right? So they should understand that if we are not able to provide or give them what they're looking for, it's not that we don't want to do it, it's because we don't have. Right? So that understanding should be with a lot of Nigerians. We should know that. And with folks who are here, there are so many ways I can be able to dissect it. with especially African American. You know, I used to be married to an African American, right? And we were married for about 15 years. There are a lot of expectations from an African. You should realize, as an African American, that African, we have our own culture. We have the way we think. There are things that are important to us.
Yes.
Our family are number one.
Yes.
We don't care if we are here. We have to take care of our family, but we also have to take care of our siblings too.
Yes.
We have to take care of our parents.
That's true.
That's not something the American
used
does,
to.
right? So all these things is the way we think. We also think about, you know, in the future, we never know what will happen. We might have to go back home. Probably we want to have a house. We want to have little thing that we can be able to have our own thing in Africa. That's part of our nature. And Americans should be able to understand that and respect that for us.
Thank you very much, because I think you were able to touch something I don't even expect, which I'm happy. And the last question that I will ask you is, what would you like to say that we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with us on this podium, on this particular podcast? That's the last question I want to ask you.
So what I want to share is I would like to be able to have every single one of us here in this country, African, Nigerian, African American, we should start looking at alternative ways of doing things. We shouldn't think everything should be, we have to do things like everyone does it, right? We should try to be able to understand other things. We should be flexible, right? Look at other ways of doing things. I'm always, and every single day of my life, I'm always advocating for people to do things whereby they have their own time. For example, I used to be in corporate America where I work 12 to 14 hours a day sometimes as a leader, right, in the
You
bank.
definitely got to be doing a lot of meetings too.
Now, I can travel anywhere and I'm still making money.
Wow.
I live, my dream life, right?
Living in Miami Beach is one of the best places everybody want to leave.
So the thing I always advise folks is look at the person you want to be like. Look at the kind of person, the kind of future you envisage for yourself. Find someone that is living that life, that is at that point in their life, and find that person as a mentor.
That's deep too.
When you are trying to become something, if you want to become wealthy, you want to become a multimillionaire, find a multimillionaire to mentor you
towards that line.
Don't think you can do it on your own. If you want to be very big and you've never seen anyone in IT to be as big as where you are going, I'm not talking about if you create an app that you are selling, but you're working for someone. If you can't find anyone in that realm, look for somewhere else. Look at somewhere else. Look at someone that has been able to attain
to that position.
That position you are aspiring for, where you want to be in your future, and ask those people or that person to mentor you.
Thank you very much for that. I think that's one thing a lot of Nigerians need to understand about coming to America, to like, irrespective of what job or anything you want to do, look for somebody that have been in that field to help you and guide you so that you won't stay too long and get frustrated about doing it. The only thing I want to ask you is, which I'm not sure you want to do, would you like to share your Instagram handle or Facebook so that people can be able to reach you? Is that something you would like to share, or is something like they can reach us through you to get to you?
I think they should reach you.
Thank you for that. It's a privilege you're giving us that honor of doing that to us, and we're really, really impressed. It's been an honor having you, sir. And like I said, I know you have a plane to catch, and it's a privilege you have to give us out of your no time to do this. And you're the first professional person we're bringing on our podcast. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate every insight you've given to us. We appreciate the fact that being a Nigerian and being in the IT industry, you're giving a new face for people to understand it's not just the IT alone. There are many ways we can make money. So it's a privilege we're having you. And for you listening to us, we just want to tell you, like, thank you so much, and for everything that you're listening to us. My studio manager has tried to correct me, so if you see me moving my hand, don't mind me. But anyway, like I always say before we end everything, like it might not make a lot of sense right now to you, but please, everything you're doing, as long as it's a good thing, keep doing it. In a couple of time or days or months or weeks or decade, it's definitely going to make a lot of sense, and that is when people will come back and tell, like, oh, I didn't know this is what you're doing. So if you're still watching, we believe we've been able to give you one or two things that can change how you see life in America. And for you back home, we believe we've been able to encourage you to realize that it's not how you think things is in America for us. And to all Black Americans or white that may be listening to you, I hope listening to this particular episode, I've helped you to know something about Africans that you don't know. And having Mr. Ahmed from Ekiti, I've represent all the Ekiti people in America. Really appreciate that. So I remain fresh. You can call me DJ Oyebanji Akins. Till the next episode, we say thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Al.
Thank you.
You really did great without all your time.